on,
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of We're Just Human. And everybody introduce yourselves. We're all in our own safe spaces right now. So,
Yes. Welcome. I'm Taleen Sophee.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
and I'm the weird and strange Hypanda. Good day to everybody. So, ladies, now that we're doing this, this is new for me. I have never had two women at the same time on a podcast. On a podcast, do not get it twisted. Do not get it twisted.
I was trying to see where you were going with that.
Yes, no. We spitball topics for the most part. I mean,
Yes.
everyone has an idea of what we're gonna do, but I do enjoy the the randomness of it all. So I don't know which one of you would like to throw it out there as far as what we're gonna be talking about today.
Sex. We're going to talk about sex.
Yes.
I'm not ready for it. I was not ready for that.
It's funny that you say that because I think that we all are going to have sex one day, even though you're not ready yet. But we all are going to experience it. And it's something that I think, we should all be comfortable talking about. Because it's completely natural, normal, right?
Absolutely.
Completely. It's part of being a human. It is our duty to, do what it was kind of uncomfortable, but not really, it really depends. On that note, I guess my question to you ladies is let's start off the session like this. What about sex? Okay. And now we're talking, everyone here's an adult. Okay. So we're not going to be talking about like, what is sex about per se?
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't going to be a dictionary of these are the types of positions you can do.
Oh man.
Encyclopedia of sex.
Yeah. So right now this is a how-to. This is a how-to session.
I've owned that book where it has it is thick and it has all different kinds of positions for 365 days.
And it's thick.
Oh.
Yeah. That girth. Heaviness.
Yeah. You got to make sure you hit all the walls, apparently. And that's a thing. That's a real thing. Okay.
Mister, you were asking us a question. Go ahead.
So, all right. What about sex at? Oh God, how do I ask this question? How has sex evolved for you over the time that from the beginning of the initiating of actually having sex, breaking that virginity, breaking that wall, up until now being seasoned, if you will, whether it be relationships, whether it be, having fun on the side or what it is. Like, what is sex to us now compared to what it was in the very beginning?
That's exactly what I was just talking to you about.
That's my question. The evolution of sex to each individual. It varies, right?
Yeah, I think for me, it depends on where you are in your life, what you've experienced, where you are, I think mentally too. There has to be that like mental and physical connection, unless, like you said, you're just going out and being promiscuous and just using that tool to just please yourself. But I think for me, I was just sharing with Jennifer earlier, is I enjoy the idea of intimacy, right? But intimacy comes in so many different ways and layers. And so for me, in this juncture in my life, before it was more of the feeling of like what you can receive and feel and experience with each person or that person or whatever it is. But in this moment for me, I think mental stimulation, like you have to be able to be very gentle and nurturing and just connected. So I need more of that mental connection for me to be able to open up myself to allow you to come into my temple, right? I'm not just, I'm not being like prude, like going from experiencing it to like being closed off, but I'm being more conscious of the energy that I'm sharing myself with. And because I know, on a whole nother note, there's energy, there's levels, there's what you absorb from other people, what you're giving to them. And I personally have experienced a certain amount of trauma where I don't want to be just sharing all that with somebody else because it's not, fair to them. So I have to do my work. So right now, mentally, I want to be more like connected to somebody to be able to open myself up to that. I'm not just open to just going and freely sharing myself with different people. So hopefully that answered your question. But
Okay. Jennifer, what about you?
Well, as a kid, I couldn't wait to have sex. I was like, I want to have sex. I used to read books about sex, how to be good at it, what to do. And
Ooh.
I lost my virginity when I was 14, drunk on an air mattress. Okay. No, no, no.
That's
I'm like,
good.
okay, it was my boyfriend, so it was okay because he was my boyfriend. We were dating for a while.
Of course.
And I remember him being like, oh, you're not going to know what you're doing because you're a virgin, blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards, he's like, you were the best sex I've ever had.
You're like, I have been reading and studying.
I've been studying this shit.
Studying.
I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
But then it was more, I just wanted to experience this thing people talked about, and now I have to be sober. I have to be conscious. I want to be present. I want to be intimate with that person. I want to be friends with them. I want to be able to talk about what I enjoy, what they enjoy, and be in tune with one another.
Okay.
At a younger age, I didn't even orgasm. It was more of an experience. Or let me go back to maybe I just wanted to be touched and loved, but I didn't know how to express that.
Okay.
Yep.
And now I'm like, no, let's hug first. Let's be intimate first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me get to know you as a person.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different for me now.
Absolutely. I agree.
So basically what I'm hearing is the initial idea of, intimacy, or just, we'll call it sex first. Okay. The initial, contact with sex was a physicality thing. It was never really a mental thing. It was a physicality. It was the, the journey of trying something new, especially, in the beginning. And it varies how old people start, being physical or intimate with people. So we're not going to, say a young age. It could be, I know some people that have, kind of gone that route, in their late teens or early 20s. I recently met an individual that said that they were never intimate with anyone until the wild age of 26. So with that being said, it's just the initial portion of the physicality of it. But now as we get older, through the experiences, through the different types of people that we are physical with, it sounds like, and I think this is pretty on point to say that it becomes more than just that. It becomes a mental stimulation as well. It's not just about the body, but it's also about the mind. And as we mature, because I'm going to use that word, as we mature, we start really looking at things in the realm of, does it feel right in here? It's not just the skin being touched. It's not just being the lips being kissed. It's one of those things where now am I into this? I know some people will rant and rave about just being, just kissing somebody. It doesn't even have to be, full on porn penetration or anything, but like just kissing someone or touching someone, even a hug can sometimes, it brings that energy of ecstasy, if you will. So I think that's the one thing that's, it makes sense, as we evolve, as we, kind of learn about ourselves, sex becomes more than just an act. It becomes more of a, mental, I don't know what the word is. connection. We'll call them, as a male, we'll call them mental boners or brain boners, if you will. So, but no, I think the
I'm never gonna look at that the same. Like
what mental boners?
mental boners. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when they say women have lady boners. You guys have heard that before, right? Like, I'm having a lady boner right now. I'm like, no,
No.
okay.
No.
Maybe it's a
Ever.
Midwest thing. It's a Midwest thing. Then everyone's like, oh, I have a couple friends that'll be like, oh man, that's exciting. I have a lady boner over that. I'm like, wow.
No, I haven't
Okay.
heard that one yet.
Never,
Talk about breaking those barriers, and kind of being equal on that sense. I get it. Lady boners are a real thing. So with that in mind, I don't know about you guys, but I'll go ahead and give precursor to this. So I am a single dad, and going through the idea of being, a boyfriend, a husband and a father. Sex has been very different through all of those different chapters in my life, and now going back to being, single and also, back out on the prowl, if you will. It is definitely those experiences in the past have kind of built a different outlook again, as far as physicality and intimacy with another person. What about you guys? Has there been an evolution still of like how you feel about intimacy, being at whatever stage it is in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. A big evolution.
I get off now. Like,
because you know what to do.
no.
You read up on it.
I was married also with somebody for 14 years, and had 3 kids, and I never had orgasms with him when I was having sex. I met him when I was 18 years old. So I would only orgasm through like foreplay or masturbation, so not until I felt safe within my body, not until after I left that relationship, not until I started doing yoga and I was connected to my breath and got back into my body. Because I always had sex before. I was always like, oh, I'm going to please this person. Oh, they got off, right? Because men, you don't ever stop having sex until the man gets off. So let's just be real.
Yeah.
So now, as I'm where I'm at now, and I meet partners or the partners that I am with intimately that I've dated, they want to make sure I've gotten off. And we reciprocate that. And I think it's because I'm in a different place in my life as well. And I connect with the partners that I've dated on an intimate spiritual level before, where I didn't have that when I was 18 years old. I didn't even understand what that was then. And I've read up on this. There's so many women that never get off and that have been married for their entire life and they've never gotten off. And how is it? I'm just saying, like, and why is it and how is it that men and women, I'm not just going to say men, but we should be diving deeper into our human bodies and like what feels good and wanting to please the other person. But some men just think that, oh, I'm going to get off and have sex with her and that's it. And a lot of women fake orgasms. Like, no, dude, you should know if she got off and you would feel it. Like, you would feel it. So where does that disconnect that I'm just going to bang you and we're going to call it a day?
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you and I see you. I get it.
And I'm not saying you're like that. I'm sure you're not like that, but
no, I'm just kidding.
He's like,
so Jennifer, going on that idea of the intention of sex initially, right? So what we're saying here is the initial idea of sex is to please the other person. Now, I completely agree. I think that different people have one or two of those avenues for their intention when they go into sex, whether it be a man or woman, they go in there saying, I'm here to please that individual, regardless if you get off or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was my
Some
mentality.
men actually get pleasure from pleasing their partner before they come. Like
I
they
agree.
see it, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, now I'm good. Like she's good, then I'm good. So yeah.
I think that's a learn. I feel like that also is kind of like a phase. I mean, granted, I'm sure people may walk into their first or like early sexual experiences with the mentality, like you said, like prospectively, it's like I'm here. The whole purpose of being intimate with someone is to please them, right? And I'll say, some men are like that. They go in there because they want to please the woman, and it does do something for them. It's not even just the act of doing it, like, oh, I just have to do this. It really is a stimulation for the other person. So, and I'm being very general here with men and women by saying that if you have that mentality, you're a man or a woman, that is a portion of the reason why you're doing it, because it gives you something. You're not just doing it to do it. You not necessarily get off on it, but it pleases you to please someone else. And I think that's
reciprocation that I think Jennifer is talking about, where there's
yes.
You are so in sync and connected with that person intimately, where you're feeling the synergy of like, okay, this person's about to climax, or this person's about to whatever. And it's like there's that, whereas most of the time it's just like robotic, like they're just going in whatever position they want and they get it done, and they're like, okay, you good? You're like
going through the motions.
Say no or whatever. Like you're just like, I mean, I haven't had many of those experiences, but I have had many girlfriends, like you said, Jennifer, that like they're married, like, and they're still not, like, it's all about pleasing him. They don't have an orgasm. And I'm just like, but there's a part of that is deeper, where the woman doesn't understand her body. Because if she understands the sync of like how, okay, her man's like, okay, I'm quick or whatever it is, it's like she can sync herself to know her body to like connect and have an orgasm. But I think they just kind of think the man has to do everything. I think it's both ways. Like you have to hype yourself up. You have to feel the sensations in your body. And it's not always the guy or the girl that has to do it,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So it's like having.
It's what?
It's like having sex. So as you're describing, like the whole idea of just servicing the other individual as if it's like that's the thing, whether you get off or not.
It's tools for each other. It's like
no, for sure.
That fit, and you work with that puzzle piece. Everybody's different.
Oh, for sure.
So,
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, that's why when I've been asked by individuals, so what's your favorite position?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, it depends, because every woman is built differently. Every angle is very different for every type of woman, and I think everyone enjoys different things. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, this is I do this and it's done.
I mean, you have a position that you'd prefer, because that's kind of what you feel you can work best with, but
mm-hmm.
Like you said, everybody's built different. Everybody moves different. It's funny. They say like, watch a person dance and you'll know how they're in bed.
1,000% true. It's 1,000% true.
So true. Like, Jen, when we went out for my birthday, it's like we were just moving. Like it was like body was an instrument. It wasn't like, okay, this is the type of music. All right, let's get into this type of music. And you gotta like, it's like what the cobra snake, you gotta allow it to just move. But when you see like guys that are like really rigid and they just kind of like, so it's kind of like very similar energy they're going to come with sexually. Cause that's all and that goes deeper into like the chakras and the energy points and how they move. I'm not saying if a guy can't dance, he can't be good in bed.
I was gonna say, is that what you're saying? If a guy is two-stepping, that's all he's got.
Most of the time, if a guy doesn't know his own rhythm, how is he gonna have rhythm in bed? Do you understand what I'm saying? It kind of goes hand in hand. I don't know. Maybe I'm too way off, but I just
I agree.
You're gonna stand like just and I got to do all the work over here.
So
I have to do all the work. Yes.
For both of you. Okay. Does size matter? And for a man, women are different sizes and they are built differently.
Oh, the depth. Yeah.
Yeah. So does size and all of that matter?
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
All right, Taleen, you go first. You go first.
I already did.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The answer is yes. Okay. Then
I mean, it doesn't
beg-
have to be ginormous and like uncomfortable, but it's gotta have some type of right fit. Like you can't just, I don't know. And this is like really too much information, but like most women can be, depending on if they've had children or whatever it is, like they can be more loose, right?
Yeah, like throwing a hot dog down the hallway. I mean, who knows?
I mean, more so than a man, right? A man doesn't really, I mean, size may shrink as he gets older, but right?
What?
No,
What?
I mean, it's not that it's gonna shrink, but it's not as like
Testosterone, you mean? Like it's
not.
Okay,
It's
so you're opening up a whole new door to what we call as ED, erectile dysfunction. That is a whole new topic. Being a man in his mid 40s, I get a lot of Facebook ads that are like, "Do you want your penis to get harder?" And I'm just like, "Wait, what? What's happening?" Yes. To your point, Taleen, it changes. Our bodies change as men. Okay. Testosterone levels drop, libido drops, all that. There's a bunch of stuff. I mean,
all of it.
We're not as simple as many people think. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not completely complicated, but I mean, as far as things change, with age. And Jennifer's just laughing at me. I'm telling you, like it's crazy. ED is a real thing. ED, erectile dysfunction. It is a real thing, and I think money making is happening now with popping pills and doing it's much more than Viagra and Cialis now. It's much more than that. There's so many things out there. But again, to quickly go over that portion, it is very much a very hard. It's variables are very different. So with men, there's so many different things, and a lot of it might be just libido. It could just be your mentality. It could just be getting that blood rushing to the right place at the right time. As far as does size matter? On a male perspective, of course, a lot of us guys are looking at it like shit. Like, I don't know if I'm big enough or whatever it is, or thick enough. Yes, thickness, girth is a thing. For those of you out there that don't realize it, nobody really wants to be prodded with a pencil. I mean, maybe some people do. I don't know. But different strokes for different folks. But I mean, just like everyone's bodies are different, like it's a key and a lock. Some of them fit well and some of them don't. If you're advantageous as a sexual partner, you will find a way, whether it be with your genitalia or with your hands or your mouth or whatever it is, to kind of level the playing field, if you will. Some men or some women will opt to do something else a little bit more for their partner because it pleases them, and kind of not do the other thing. So I feel like I guess everyone can't be great at everything, and I think that being able to be with a partner that you can work with, you can grow with sexually is important. Because if you don't grow physically or sexually with that person, it's almost like we're just doing this and trying to just whatever just to get it done. It really is not an act of intimacy. It's just an act of it's just something that we're supposed to do because we're together, if that makes sense. Just like the whole idea of being married.
Yeah.
Like it's to do. Right? No?
Check
Yeah?
my
No?
to-do list. Got married, check. Divorce, check. Kids, check. Single mom.
We all got the kids and the divorces.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. I mean, I went in
narcissism.
At a young age, I was able to experience dating a woman with a child. And my first instinct was, I wonder how big it is down there. Like, is it going to be like, she had a child, and I'm talking, I was young. I was in my late teens when I had this experience.
Yeah.
It was like, it went through my head. I'm like, whoa, is it going to be like a portal down there? Like, am I physically going to be able to put like, it was, there was a little bit of insecurity, because I was just
So what
like,
happened?
oh, it was good. It was real good. But the whole point of it was, coming from a male perspective, it is, when we talk about, does size matter and things like that, for us men, I know for a fact that we do think about, like, she had children? Is she a virgin? How many guys has she slept with? How gaping is that area, or how tight is it? So in the same sense, when women, in majority of conversations are really about like, how big is he? And in my curiosity to the female, species, I always have to ask, like, is like, what's too much or what's too little? That's always the question that I have to ask at both ends, like, what is not enough and what is too much? And it's been very, it hasn't been consistent. Like, everyone's different. It just proves that everyone's different, if that makes sense.
Yes. I
And
mean,
that's why we have positions.
I just want to feel it. Can I feel it? If it's
too
much,
right?
then it's uncomfortable.
It's
too.
uncomfortable.
So you're like, I don't want to do that. That's
just the head. Just put the head in.
Oh my God.
Just the head.
So have you ever met a woman and you're like, it was great, right? And then she got undressed and you looked at her down there and you're like, oh, no.
Okay.
Sorry, it was just.
I will speak on my own behalf, because I never speak in generalities for the most part, because I get it, everyone's different. I think there was a moment that I was, and it wasn't okay. So it wasn't even like a no. I was just like, that looks a little different. But as a guy, I can't say that I was like, oh no, we're not doing this. As soon as she dropped her clothes, I was just like, Like,
well, she smelled like tuna fish.
Okay, no, that's different. Now you're talking about just hygiene. Let me ask you, so would you go fuck a homeless guy?
Hygiene's the thing.
Hygiene is huge. You're like, I'm not gonna, don't expect me to put my mouth anywhere near sweating. You know what I mean? Like, if you were sweating, how am I supposed to enjoy it? Like, it. I mean,
salty nuts.
All right, backpedal, real quick. There are some people that
but you don't want to lick my sweaty kitty.
You gotta find a special man for that one, or woman. Either way, some people are into that. Some people.
Dude, you have to be more conscious and like aware. Like, you just went to the gym and you're like drenched, sweating, and you're not gonna be like, oh, can you just go down there, please? Like,
I mean, there's been times where I would start working my way down there, and as soon as I get to the navel area, it was like just not. And I was like, oh, and I kind of slowly worked my way back up. I've only been questioned once, like, oh, how come? And I was like, oh, just I'm not, it smells good. Being honest with your partner is a good thing, because if she respects you like you respect her, she'll play. What's that?
Did you tell her it smells?
Oh yeah. I said, hey, babe,
I would die. I would be mortified. I'd be like, get the F out. Get out.
Okay. So what happened was,
I shower and make sure I'm clean every time. I am like not even. Yeah. Like, some people don't do that though.
Don't take a shower.
No, I agree on both of what you said, but I feel like women are more, because being self-conscious, usually if I'm working my way down there and the woman says, oh, babe, no, I'm like, okay, I get it, and then I can probably smell it. But it's that communication, it's that, hey, you may not want to go down there because for whatever reason.
I
appreciate that.
I took a shit. I gotta wash.
Yeah, don't be licking my butthole. There's no ass play today unless you want to get some chocolate on that dick. It's, it's a forewarning, and I feel like in any sexual relationship that is very much necessary.
Guys,
it's completely necessary.
In reality, there are quickies and there are moments where we're not all showered and clean.
You get caught up and just okay. That's fair.
You're not going to be licking and doing all this stuff when you're like, okay, the other stuff can work. It'll be a little different. But, like, let's say you're just on like an outdoor hike or something and you want to be doing something crazy or whatever it is, or you're in the car. Like, you're going to be like, okay, I got to go shower. I'd like to be clean as well. But sometimes you have those moments as well, which is fun.
Moments of weakness. No, I'm not saying that never happens. I'm just saying that generally, if you're going to, perform in the bedroom or on the couch, it's just like, oh, babe, I just did a bunch of squats. My balls smell so bad. As much as I would enjoy a blowjob right now, I'm just telling you, I'm informing you that it's not pleasant.
Slow down for you to not smell.
Oh yeah.
No, I'll straight up be like, you need a shower and go rinse off, and then I'll go down on you. I am not.
That's a completely fair conversation to have.
And then they run real quick.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. What they'll do is they'll just run to the bathroom, grab one of those baby wipes, and just wipe it off real quick. And like, here we go. So, yeah. So that is the thing. That is the thing. But going back to the whole size, again, I'm a firm believer that everyone's different. And things, you can make things work. If it's too small or it's too big or whatever it is, on both ends. I'm not just talking about men, women as well. The intimacy is, like we said, it's much more than the physicality, right? So you can find a way for both of you to be pleased, regardless if certain things aren't, completely the way you'd like it to be. But I'm going to ask you both this. Has there been a point in a relationship that you've had with a man, or just, a physical partner, if you will, because people have those types of relationships, that you've kind of caught yourself saying, you know what? The sex or the intimacy is not that good. I need to step away from this. So stepping away from a relationship because of the lack of, or, whatever it may be, of the intimacy. Is that a huge factor?
I mean, it's a huge factor, but I've never walked away for that.
Did you try to fix it?
No, I didn't walk away. I just take care of myself. I don't know.
Okay, that's where I was going with it. It's almost like, is it worth breaking up? I mean, and on the flip side too, some people have amazing, sexual partners, but like they're just pieces of shit people. It's like, you're only good for one thing, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm at a place in my life, if I'm with someone and they want to be like in a relationship with me, like it needs to be an intimate connection, and they have to want to go down on me. Like, and I've never been like that before, but I'm that way. So I'm just at that age. I think I'm at an age where, I'm like, no, I want it all. And if I'm with somebody, I'm going to give them my time, and they don't care about me and how I feel and don't want to be intimate with me in that way.
Yeah.
Then you can be in the friend zone, dude. Like, you're in the friend zone,
Yeah. No, I agree.
What's the point? And it doesn't have to be all about the size, but it needs to be an intimate relationship for me.
For sure.
Yep. Absolutely.
No, I get that. No, it makes a lot of sense, as far as having physical relationship. But yes, friend zone, if like everything is good except for the intimacy, because intimacy is a huge part. And when I say intimacy, it's not just sex, but
you're
intimacy
talking about
in general.
The touching, all that. It's not just sex, like you said. It has to be some type of connection outside of that. Like when that person's fingers touch you, you just want to be like, oh, I have goosebumps down my back. It's like that type of connection where you're craving that person, not because you're trying to like control them, but it's like you just desire that part of your relationship. And that, I know people say like, oh, sex is not everything, you have to have everything else. Yeah, but like energy and the power that is like created between two people that are syncing. And if you hold an intention while you're being intimate with somebody, I don't know if you guys know about this, where you can literally manifest the life you desire with your person. You just both have to show up with that energy. I'm not saying like you're in the moment, you're like thinking about, okay, this is the kind of house we want. No, but like having the same values, the same, visions, or aligned where they're, can blend, you can bring that. So I think intimacy is just, it's a beautiful thing to have, not just the sex part, but touch, kissing.
Touch.
Kissing
Yes.
is so important for
Touch.
me. Like if a person can kiss me, it's, oh my God, yes. Like I can spend hours kissing somebody, and that is like weird to say. Or like what? I'm like, I could just kiss somebody.
Weird.
I can kiss their face. I can kiss their forehead. I could kiss their body softly. But it's like just the embrace and the touch of that is a whole different erogenous zone. Like, yeah. It's like foreplay, but I'm just saying if it doesn't have to be sex, it could just be like I'm sitting there and just, running my fingernails down his arm, or just,
yeah, that's nice.
or like, and that's the thing, Jen, I love how you brought that up. And I'm kind of going back to where we started is you talked about how you studied at a very young age about the anatomy of the body and the physicality and, tantric sex. I don't know if you both have experienced that, I've experienced that. And that's what I'm talking about. Like you cannot have the penetration, but actually experience that. And I experienced it with somebody that I never thought, but they were teaching me. And I was like, wow, there's stuff like that I would have never known, but there's so much to it. There's, I'm just going to keep, but like the layers and everything to go to it, where tantric sex, all of it is just, you have to find the right person where you can, like you said, evolve, grow, and like sync with, and just learn about your own body. Because I think we don't study our own body, and we're so consumed with pleasing the other person that we forget about learning about where do I like to be touched? Or like a guy will touch you, or a woman will touch you and be like, oh my God, I didn't even know that part was so sensitive. Like, but we don't spend time learning our bodies, it's just, I think we should do a whole like workshop class on the body and,
turn into an orgy.
Your partner, just learning the art of just authenticity and intimacy. People are so afraid of saying what they want. And because they've had partners in the past that haven't given them that openness to sexuality, that when they are with somebody, they're like, what in the world is this? Like, I have never experienced this because I was so closed off from being with this person. I was thinking that's where the sky's the limit. And then you get with another person, it's like, what? So.
Yeah, you only know what you know. I mean, I think, keeping an open mind, but also being able to prospectively try new things. Of course, I'm not saying, don't knock it till you try it, but at the same token too, becoming comfortable with your partner is the most important thing, because you cannot move forward and explore if you are not comfortable with that partner. Even if it's things that you may or may not like. I do enjoy when people are like, oh, I would never do this, and then all of a sudden a month later, like, oh my God, I tried it and it was amazing. I'm like, okay, so let me just be very, very vocal about this. If you don't like something, it's okay, right? But to put it out there as if it's, you're very adamant about it, and then to backpedal on the idea later on, it just it makes my blood curdle. Like, I'm like, hey, if you don't like it, that's fine, but don't sit here and like point fingers, like, you shouldn't be doing this, it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then like a week later, you're like, oh my God, it was the most amazing thing ever. Just shut the fuck up. Like, come to the table and say, hey, I've never tried it, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable. It's how you say it, how you present it. And then at that point,
knock it off. You're like, nope, so, or you just had an experience.
Oh yeah, trauma can do everything. If you have, but I'm saying, like, if even prior to having a trauma or even trying something that you are so adamant about, fuck that, no. And then the idea of the hypocrisy behind the mindset is what kills me sometimes, and that goes to stay with everything. But as far as the sexual realm goes, it is very, if you do, I know some people have had traumas, that will, alleviate them from trying new things, and we all have to be accepting and be very.
Subject, yeah.
It is, be cognizant about it. And it's one of those things where, if, for example, let's just say I'm with an individual and she just doesn't like giving blowjobs, okay? And let's just say that I love blowjobs. In my mind, do I look at it as I can't be with this person because she cannot, fulfill me in this sexual manner? Or do I like her enough and feel that the relationship is much more power in it, that I can go past that and try to work in other ways, and I think that's something that people think about in general, not just men, but just women. Yes, Jennifer.
So would you be with someone if they didn't give you blowjobs?
If I feel like it's a small aspect, so I would continue to have the relationship regardless. I would try. I wouldn't call that a be all end all, like, oh gosh, she doesn't give blowjobs, fuck it, like, no. Or she doesn't do ass stuff,
on a porn site and watch the fantasy of it.
Yeah, pretty much, and just kind of be in my own corner. After being intimate with her, do what alleged ladies do and be like, oh, I'll be back. Like, why are you in the bathroom? I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. But
that's what you'd be hearing in the bathroom.
Yeah. Like, so my boyfriend, let's go to the bathroom after we have sex, and he's in there for quite some time. All you hear is, and it's like, okay, well, we all know what that means. But he's still your boyfriend, so you gotta kind of have to do it that way. Better that than him being gone for hours on end.
Because it's kind of the slippery slope. So, like, think about it. Like, when you get in a relationship, they say, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't get every single need met by that one person, right?
Oh, that's impossible. No.
But that's what I'm saying. So, like, where is the fine line when it comes to the sexual stuff? Is like, okay, somebody doesn't like to give me blowjobs or go down on me. Do I implement something outside of that because I like that? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's porn to it, or there's, pleasing yourself in a different way. Like, or you just not experience that because the person doesn't want to do it.
You can also always find an alternative. You know what I mean? There's always the possibility. I mean, alternative as in, like, what I mean by that is like something else intimate with that individual. You know what I mean? Like, whether it be, God, this is gonna be so gross. Whether it be her giving you wet hand jobs because it feels like a blowjob.
Oh, got it. Okay.
That's a thing, or for whatever reason, if her vagina is amazingly wet and tight and it feels like a mouth, awesome. There's always, I feel like there's always an avenue that will kind of change that. I got hot just saying that. I just got hot saying that.
Are you having a hot?
You got it boner.
I know what it feels like. Just kidding.
I can't stand up right now. We'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. No, it's so funny. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, we just talked about oral for quite some time for this thing. I mean,
no.
Is oral sex essential for couples?
I think so.
I said, friend zone.
Yes, Jennifer.
If you're just gonna be a friend.
So,
like, or I'll be single.
I get that.
Fair.
I get that. I recently, side note, speaking of oral sex, speaking of cunnilingus specifically, I'm getting a little technical here. The idea that there are toys out there that have tongues that, like,
oh yes,
blew my fucking mind. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. I was like, wow, I thought there were just vibrators, and then dildos. I did not realize that they had,
Get a robot.
Yeah.
Or those live Lincoln. Have you seen those? They're like almost like robotic and real. Like, it's a flush.
Okay, lick my.
Yeah.
Wait, like
He's about
you
to
can.
order one. Send him the link.
I was like, oh, we should start doing affiliate links. These are the sex toys that you can enjoy.
Where do I get it? Oh, where do I get
I know. Yeah, that's. I mean, don't get me wrong. Technology has gone a long way. Where I've even noticed that they have toys that you can do long distance. So it seems a bit.
it? Your eyes said it all. I was like, what? Long distance toys?
Yeah,
Hello?
like it.
You have the phone
Like
too?
you can literally. It just seems a bit expensive because you have to have the virtual glasses on. You have to have this like mechanism around your crotch area. And you can like, it's almost like us doing a podcast right now, but we could all have devices on and like literally like get each other off.
Thank you. I mean, totally offset, Jen. I just had an idea for the app. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
no.
you so
Oh,
much.
no.
Oh my God.
I don't know how I feel about that.
No,
But
has nothing to do with sex.
Actually, that would be great.
Virtual masturbation rooms or like play. Oh my
yeah,
God. Anyway.
no, it's a thing. It's a thing. I mean, I talked about opening up a brothel using nothing but real dolls. Do you guys know what real dolls are?
Yeah.
Like the
I think that's
full
what I was
life size.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I was
okay, then yeah.
I didn't know the
Duh.
technical name. I don't need to order one, so I just know.
I thought about the idea of fulfilling men's dreams or women's in a non like something that was not going to be breaking up marriages per se, as a sexual experience that was erotic and filled with fantasy but not emotional, so I was like, yeah, we should open up basically a brothel or a whorehouse with real dolls, and you get to pick which one you want. You have your time, and it was like one of those inanimate sexual experiences that, like, and not to say it'd be normalized, but it's something you could do instead of going out and trying to fuck someone else and ruin your relationship or your marriage, or the idea of getting any sort of sexual transmitted diseases. You could go to a safe place and have your way with something really inanimate that could work out for you. Yes, it was a topic amongst 4 guys sitting around drinking beers going, it would be a great idea. So just so you guys know what we talk about, those were our business models of building a inanimate sex doll or house. So
I don't know. I just feel like if I'm going to be sexually active or intimate with somebody, I want to be able to experience everything with them and not look outside of the relationship or anything. But here's the slippery slope where it goes back to porn again, where it's mostly more men, I would say, than women, in my opinion. Men still watch porn even though they're in relationships.
I read this.
Is that considered cheating?
This man was saying that was cheating, and
I thought it was in some way because you're fantasizing about somebody else, right? Masturbating.
Do you think that's cheating? Hypanda?
So that's very, 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 very subjective. And that goes in the same realm of, if my man looks at another woman, is that cheating? So there's, again, I feel that it depends.
Watching, and it's not like you're looking going like, that's beautiful. There's handsome men out there. I'm gonna look at fucking eyes. I'm gonna be like, wow, what a great looking person. Say it to my partner. I'm not gonna be like fantasizing about them. However,
but what if you do though? So that you're technically getting off on it as well.
How are you getting off on it? You're just looking and like admiring. It's like a piece of art. You're like, wow, that person's really
for sure. And I'm not saying this is something
a fantasy of something, whether you're watching someone get blowjobs or you're actually watching the physicality of 2 people and you're like pleasing yourself with that, and you're in a relationship. How does that work?
Is that
a slippery slope? Is that considered cheating?
I think it's subjective, to be quite honest, because you got to think of it this way. So we're talking about the whole idea of finding someone else attractive, right? There's this thing that us men call, not all men, but majority of men, we call it spank bank. Okay, we call it a spank bank. So, for example, if I see someone attractive and I see them, and I'm like, babe, she's so hot, and she's like, oh yeah, she's totally hot. Whatever. Later on that evening, I put that visual of that woman is in my spank bank, and I go and I decide to, self-service myself using that person as, as the catalyst to get me where I need to go. I mean, and at the end of the day too, like, this is something you normally wouldn't bring up to someone, especially if you're in a relationship, but, is that considered cheating also then, other than me staring at my being like, oh yeah, it's in my head, right? So it's very hard to really define.
Your frontal cortex of processing it and thinking sexual thoughts to stimulate yourself to experience an orgasm that is not with your partner. I'm not saying everyone has to be with your partner, but I'm saying if you're doing it and you're watching something else, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a slippery slope for me.
Well, for you, yeah. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't. Like I said right before we jumped into the.
What do you think about that? Like, you're in a relationship, but the guy that you're with is still watching porn and masturbating.
Okay, well, see, I've been with someone in the bed and we've watched porn and did things together, right?
Okay.
But if you're
solo
watching porn and you're not wanting to be with me, I would just be like, well, why aren't you asking me to be with you, right? Because I'll do it. I'll do whatever. So I'll be like, yeah, okay.
It's an inconvenience, like asking too much. You know what I mean?
But on an energy level, and if it's like 68 seconds, that's how long it takes to manifest something and create something, right? So if you're giving someone your time longer than a minute, and it's intimate, personal, or you're looking at something for longer than a minute, or whether it's porn, you're bringing that into our relationship. So we got to think about that. So is it me and you? Because me and you becomes one, right? If we're in a relationship. So now, did I agree upon that? Ask my permission before you bring something outside into our personal relationship, because I'm going to feel it. I'm going to like it. I'm going to be a part of that. And that's not okay either. So I think communication and it depends on the relationship. Maybe some people are okay with that. Some people aren't. Yeah. So we need to talk about that and be like, hey, what's going on here?
So when they're watching that energetically, they're absorbing that, and that becomes a part of them because they visually watched it, getting off on it. And it could be a woman masturbating and could be either or. So that partner is now bringing that fantasy they watched into the next time you're intimate with that person. Is that what I'm understanding clearly? Like, it becomes part of their vibration. So
technically, yeah, that is cheating, because now you're bringing in another cord, another attachment. So unless I'm okay with that and you didn't ask me, I'm going to feel that. I'm going to feel that disconnect, right? We're going to feel it. So I'm like, okay, well, what's that missing cord, and why am I feeding somebody else outside of us? Because I didn't sign up for that.
Okay. So there's an energetics to look at too. So there's layers to this. It's not just, okay, you're doing it. And then what part of that, I'm sorry, Dennis, we're like going back. What part of that is does the man or the woman, but mostly the men, maybe fantasize about what they watched, and you're just the physical vessel there in that moment? I'm not saying they're doing it intentionally to hurt you, but they're fantasizing about having that fantasy with that other person, but you're physically the one doing it. Does that happen when you're constantly watching porn because you're having like a mix of like hardcore fantasy to like, oh my God, this is my person, I want to be gentle with them. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be that blend, but you get, and that's what you're talking about, where you start absorbing that in your flesh of like dirty, raunchy, just get after it. You know what I mean?
I feel like there needs to be, another end, there has to be some consistency, right? So let's just say, for the example that you're bringing up, T, the example that you're bringing up is someone that constantly watches porn, whether their partner's home or not.
With it, like, they have sex with you, but they're also watching porn during the time.
I know, but
bug you to have sex. Like, they're just like, I just want to get it done. I don't want to like really have the whole sex thing. I just want to get it done and go on with my day. You know what I mean?
With that being, with that type of
I'll make a
relationship,
porn video for my boyfriend.
so I mean, but okay.
Right. You can't control if he's gonna watch that or go right back to the porn. So you're like, look, I just put myself out there.
Well, no,
Shit.
I mean, let's be real. The situation really is about, the other partner's ego.
Yeah. Okay.
It's about their ego. Let's not fuck around. It's about their ego. It's almost like I'm not. It has that idea that you feel like you're not doing enough or you're not doing it right for them, right? So let's just establish that's the main, kink in the whole thing. It's just like, well, fuck, then why not just watch porn all day? Now, the other variable is this: how often is the person watching porn, and are they watching porn when they're, let's just say, not my wife, my girlfriend isn't available right now, and I said, babe, could you send me a video? Whatever. I need to do this, and she's like, fuck you, man. And it's like, well, what am I gonna do? My partner just told me to go fuck off.
No, that person probably will watch it when they're not with you because you're not around, and that they just want to, whatever, get off.
Yeah, they just wanted to get off. They wanted to get off.
Yeah.
Not they want to, concentrate on exactly what it is. Okay, so all I'm saying is this. For a moment, the type of situation that you were bringing up felt like the other person, let's say the man, has a problem with watching porn. Like he's constantly watching porn.
I mean, women are really into it too.
Either way,
don't watch porn. So it's not just a guy thing, but is it considered cheating if they're not mentally connecting in the way where it's like either you're not available, whatever, I'm just getting off. Like I need to just get off and be done. But with you, they're connecting. It's a whole different intimacy level. But I still think there's like that slippery slope of, is it really considered cheating or not? I don't know.
And I mean, I'll go back to my original answer. It's very subjective because, some people, there's a lot of variables as far as maybe them having some sort of addiction. It's a sex addiction. It's not a person addiction. It's a sex addiction, right?
Yeah.
Or, the idea of fantasy. Jennifer, you're really on point by saying, hey, babe, if there's something that you really like, you want to get into that, be open about it. Talk to me first, right? Because I might be able to fulfill that, which is a great way to communicate sexually in your relationship, because at least it's out there, right? You're not like, I saw you watching, I looked at I looked on the internet and I noticed that you were watching this, why not tell me? And that, at the end of the day, actually builds more on your relationship as a whole, because now you're building that comfort level of talking about some things that might be uncomfortable, right? You've broken that barrier down and now you can move forward or move backwards, who knows? But at least it's out in the open. I think that's a great thing, regardless, And the porn thing is, it's right now, I mean, everyone watches porn, right? It's very unlikely.
Jen, just like you, in the past, I've had a partner where I've watched porn with, but it's like, yeah, it's all right. I guess it just depends on the person in the moment and the situation, whatever. It's
for sure.
I think against it, don't hide it, like you're saying, Dennis, where it's like, don't just share it and be like, look, I do this. If it bothers you, let me know. Communication.
Definitely the hiding thing. We won't say that. On a kind of non 2-person intimate level. It kind of makes you wonder as far as that individual's mindset. Maybe traumas. There's something that is triggering them to do what they do. Right.
It's a vice. It's like people like to drink, do drugs, whatever. It's a vice. Sex. That dopamine, that feeling, that rush. It's you're chasing it, and so it becomes a vice and it becomes a part of an addiction. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh no, that's definitely one avenue that people will look into to think that it's a problem, right? But yeah, I mean, it's super subjective as far as your relationship with your partner, as far as how often they do it, if you join in on it, if they have conversations with you about it, and things like that. But as far, again, just like anything else, as far as cheating on someone, there's a lot of different variables, and we're all different, right? I've seen people felt like they were cheated on for like the most, in my mind, the most minuscule reasons. I was like, wow, you're just trying to find a reason to break up with this person. Like this is a bunch of bullshit, And then there's some people on the opposite end that their significant other will do the most heinous things in my mind. And I'm like, why the fuck are you still with them? Right? So again, with everything, it's very subjective. We really don't have an absolute. I mean, it's your personal preference, things like that. But again, yeah, I mean, the whole porn thing, everyone's like, I've met some people that are like, I've never watched porn before. And I just feel like this fucking lie, like if you don't want to admit it, that's fine. But it's like everybody will fall upon it to some extent. At some point. They're going to do it. But I think it is very healthy, though, to watch porn with your partner. I think that's a very healthy thing to do. If because it can actually be a huge part of your sexual experience with that person. It's a heightened experience completely. And also you guys can kind of see what type of porn each other's into and decide if it's good for you, if it's right for you. I've been in very strange situations in the past at a young age with someone I was dating, and she wanted to watch something that was really, really not. We'll say this: I learned a lot about her in that hour. I learned a lot about her, and I realized what she really wanted in life, sexually, and I definitely walked away from that relationship because I said, "Hey, you know what? I feel like I can fulfill what it is that you want."
Dennis.
I was like, I
What do you want to do with you, Dennis?
What? No, I mean, I was. So it was the situation. She was very into specific situations. And it was one of those things where I just I'm not one for sharing too much. And it seemed more like a gangbang. So I was like, yeah, I have nothing wrong with men on men or, women on women. But I mean, 5 guys and just you kind of like there. I mean, I get it. It doesn't seem like you're being worshipped. Like there's a sexual thing with women being worshipped by men, right?
There is.
This seems like a party of guys at a frat party, and we're just going to town and just high-fiving each other. You were just there. Like you're a vessel that we are just there to fill. And I thought it was just a kink, like just I just thought no, she was really kind of like really trying to push it to another level. And I respectfully said, I don't
position.
What's that?
She was promoting you for that position.
She was like, "You're going to be the lead. I need you to find 5 other guys that want to fill these holes." I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that. If we're going to be together. Now, if this is a paid position, yes, you hire me on. I'll do my job. But it is not a situation where I'm thinking to myself, and vice versa. Like if I, I feel like my mentality is just the whole idea of if I'm with you, we have a intimacy level that we share together, right? Unless this is for fun and for kicks, like I'm all about it, right? But if it's with someone that I care about, if it's someone that I have this deep intimacy level that I share with nobody else at the time, there's only certain things I want to do with her, but sharing that individual, don't get me wrong, I have friends that like love the idea of just, as much as they can being with more than one person at a time, But for me, the level of relationship that I want to be at is a one-on-one thing. It's we get to share stuff that we don't share with other people. If you want to do a gangbang, if you want to get crazy, I was like, no, definitely don't be my girlfriend, because after a while, it's like, wait a minute. So what does your girlfriend do? Oh man, she just does it, everything to everybody. It's like, oh. I'm a proud man. Like I'm not gonna sit there. I'm gonna promote her. I'm gonna promote her for what she's good at, what she shows me. Not like me watching her like with 9 other people in general. Like it's like like I get it. There's an industry for it. It's called porn. That's really the thing.
I don't like sharing. If I'm with somebody, I don't want to share.
I'm like, you mine.
You're all mine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole point.
If you're gonna do it, there's another rule too. If you want to do something, then is it okay if I do it? Like,
Yes.
You gotta think about that too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay. But then also, what are we going to bring into our relationship, and how is this going to affect our relationship later?
Exactly. It's never for the moment.
Yeah.
There's
So,
long-term effects to it. And going back to the heat of the moment, things do happen. And that's fine. I feel like a lot of those things happened to me in the past when I was younger, when I didn't have kids, when I had no other responsibilities about myself. But now being older, it's like, well, do I really want to put myself in that position? And don't get me wrong. I mean, I've met people in their like 50s and 60s that are all about just getting wild and crazy, but
because they were probably so closed off during their 20s and 30s and 40s. They just
that's a real thing. People that get
the younger version of themselves in an older body.
Yes, it's a fulfillment. It's
go get it.
It's simply fulfilling a void. That's what it is, or experimenting, if that makes any sense.
Experience things, have fun, but to each their own. Everyone's going to be different, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like we should do another episode that dives a little bit more into the sexual realm. This was good, though, guys. This was really good. I learned a lot.
And on this episode,
the next episode we're gonna take it to a whole new level. It'll be us three in bed having this conversation, or a different conversation. That's what it's gonna be. Today was a good conversation about sexual relationships. I think that it would be good to piggyback a new episode about getting a little bit more into just sex in general, right? Because we talked about relationships, right?
I think like positions and things like that. Are you talking about what layer do you want to explore next in this realm?
All the layers, all of the things.
All
no, it'll be good. I think there's okay. The whole idea of what the sex industry has to offer as far as toys, as far as like things like that, blows my mind. That is a good conversation to have, because
we just go to an adult store and do this.
We should do the episode. We should do the episode in an adult.
Yes.
If we can,
it's very possible.
That would be fun.
So if you, for any of you guys out there that are listening and watching, if you have a Las Vegas-based adult store, please reach out to us. We would love to do, a show in your location, and we'll see what happens. Oh, that sounds dangerous. That just sounds dangerous, especially with you two.
Educate.
Dangerous. I don't know if I want to be a part of this. We'll see. I'll sleep on it. But anyway, on that note, Jennifer, Taleen, it was a wonderful conversation. It's too bad we all had to be in our own places for this. But granted, I think this was, this is still fun. This is still fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on that note, we will see you guys soon. Please tune in, follow us, subscribe to us. We're just human. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And ladies, always a pleasure. I can't wait to do it again. And until next time. Bye, everybody.